This past Sunday morning, we looked at this part of the Psalms where the shepherd is talking about David speaking through the shepherd, said he prepares a table for us in the presence of our enemies. And what we see is the shepherd wants to take the sheep who will follow him, who don't go astray, who are willing to obey and stay close and not run away, follow him through the valleys of the shadow of death to the very top of the mesas where the tabletops or the tables are. And there he wants the sheep to flourish, and not only flourish, but to flourish in the presence of our enemies. And I use the illustration of John Paxton, the missionary who had a run-in with the voodoo doctors and had an encounter where it was God against their God or their black magic, and he won. And they couldn't kill him. And it just opened the door for the gospel to share, to spread. And he was able to be very convincing because his God, meaning Jehovah, was stronger than the God of the witch doctors and their black magic. And it opened their eyes to realize we need to be taking seriously the claims of this God who spared this missionary's life, where he won against his enemies, the witch doctors. And what we need to realize is that's what God wants to do in our life. He wants us to be his shining examples, his trophies of grace, that his grace, his mercy, his love, his power can be demonstrated to the known world. And when the world sees believers living victoriously the way God wants us to, it not only brings joy to God, but it brings the image of Christ in us to a higher level that will draw people to him. So often we seem to think we want to be defenders of the faith, and we need to be demonstrations of the faith. And as long as we can do that, the enemy hates it when Christians thrive, and he will try everything he can to defeat it, but he knows the shepherd is always more powerful than they are. So if our faith is in the good shepherd, we don't have to worry about the enemy. And all we got to do is testify what God is doing in our lives as he drives away the enemy so that we can be protected and live the way God wants us to live. Because he says, I've come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. That's the birthright of every child of God. And if we follow Christ and don't get sidetracked and get picked off by the enemy, and we stay in there and hang in there till God brings us to the mesas to where we are a shining example to the whole world, that's when God is pleased. And I hope this week you can be part of pleasing God by seeing your life being a living demonstration of victory over the power of the enemy.